Halfmilesniper here, and we are back in the garage today with what is my new rifle, or my new rifle to be. So we're going to take a look at the components we have, and we'll talk about that. So y'all sit back, kick your feet up, enjoy the ride. Alrighty, y'all. Well, we are back in the garage today, and those of y'all who've seen the Ethical Hunter Challenge number 3 with Eric Cortina, when I shot his rifle at 500 yards as I was heading home from Texas, I decided I think I'm going to build me one of those rifles. Now I'm not copying Eric's rifle. His is in 6.5 Creedmoor and a Hunter stock. I may build this to try out the PRS game. So I've got a Solus action. I got a Solus barrel from Arrow, and I chose 6 Creedmoor. Reason I chose 6 Creedmoor is because I would ultimately like to be probably down around the 6 GT, but Arrow doesn't make a barrel in 6 GT. So if I put a 6 GT barrel on, if I play the PRS game, I have to play unlimited, whereas this way here I can play factory to start out. I have my trigger and basically the bones of a new rifle. So we're going to start off. We will take a look at the action. Take a look at what's in the box. Then we'll take a look at the barrel. I have my bore scope, and we're going to see how this barrel looks brand new. Hasn't been test fired or anything. It's just going to be should be a clean bare bore. So give me another minute or two, and I'll bring you right back. You know what I really hate? When you forget to turn the cameras on. Yes, fortunately, this wasn't a one-time shot deal, so I get to start all over again. But, yep, I forgot to turn the cameras on. Take 2. So what we have here in our Arrow Precision box, we have my paperwork. And we have an envelope. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Got some nice packaging and some foam and some vapor wrap. And inside the box we have our action, our bolt, a Savage style barrel nut, a proprietary barrel nut wrench for that Savage style barrel nut, and our trigger hanger. Let's pull the items we're going to be using so we can get this box put off to the side. And take a little closer look at the machining on this. It's very, very well machined. Got 2 vents in the case of a case head separation, and they hide the serial number here in the ejection port. Wow, that runs pretty darn quiet for just coming straight out of the box. Very nice. Let's take a look at what's in the envelope. Let's see, for starters, we got us, well, a couple of stickers. We've got us a barrel break-in procedure, which we're probably not going to follow a break-in procedure this time around. That seemed to be a waste of barrel life to me. And got a QR code to learn more about the rifle system. And a little card with a QR code, and it looks like it is an AR forging that's going to be stamped out of, trimmed out of the forged aluminum. That's what it looks like. Can't really tell, but I think that's what it is. So a sticker and a 30 years Aero Precision. We know those are going to go here on the table somewhere. We'll put the envelope and my paperwork back off to the side. And in this box, we have probably a very important piece that isn't a rifle. That's our action wrench. Machined to the same quality as the receiver is. Very tight tolerances, and we will use that to lock that receiver down on our barrel. So we'll put that in reserve as well. So now, in addition to our receiver, again, the trigger hanger, all-important trigger hanger, I also have a TriggerTech trigger that's adjustable between 1 and 3.5 pounds. So my Howa action, my 6.5 PRC on the Howa 1500, I've never touched that trigger. That trigger's set to 3.5 pounds, and that's where I'll keep it. I could probably tighten my groups up by lightening that trigger, but I think it shoots pretty decent groups with the 3.5 pound trigger, so I'm not so worried about it. And I also have a set of go and no-go gauges so that we can verify our headspace once we have the barrel mounted. So speaking of the barrel, give me a minute to move the receiver and stuff out of the way, and we'll bring the barrel up and we'll take a closer look at the barrel. Alrighty, so after a quick rearranging of stuff, our action, our bolt are here. I have the barrel. The barrel came with thread protectors at both ends and a nifty, like fishnet kind of sleeve. Ooh. That's tight. Okay, that's rubber cap off the chamber end. There we go. That's the rubber cap off the muzzle end. So our chamber, and then our muzzle, we have kind of a, I don't know if that's actually showing, it's kind of a double crown. Got the crown here at the barrel, at the bore mouth, and then the whole face is recessed, probably a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little bit deeper. Very nice. Give me a second to, pardon me, give me a second to get the bore scope running. And now that we have a bore scope running, let's take a look down the bore. This will be very, very interesting. I do believe that is our throat. That's our shoulder. And there's our lead. Really curious how this is going to look. On the plus side, I'm not seeing any chattering. Let's see if I can dial that light down a little bit. There we go. Not seeing any chattering in the rifling. It looks like it's just bare stainless all the way. And if you remember, the Howa bore was coat it with whatever nitride coating was on the outside of the barrel. And that's slowly wearing through. This just looks like bare metal all the way through. This is some really pretty rifling. Very pretty. So it'll be interesting to see how this 6 Creedmoor holds up long term, much like we're doing with the 6.5 PRC on that Howa 1500. The lands and grooves are very sharp on this, and there's our crown. Very nice. Well, there we have it. We have, let me get this powered down. There we have it. We have that first look down a brand new bore. Unlike the Howa, while the outside of the barrel is nitrided, the inside of the barrel is bare metal. So we're not going to be looking at, so any dark stuff we see in the barrel later down the road, we know will be carbon and or copper buildup, and not the finish being worn through. Okay, give me a minute to put the bore scope away, and we'll talk about what I'm going to do next. Alrighty, so what I'll be doing next, and I won't be able to show you because according to the powers that be at YouTube, what we're going to do next is evil. We are going to ram these two pieces together very carefully and torque this barrel into this receiver to 75 foot-pounds. I do believe that's what it is. Pretty sure it's 75 foot-pounds. The torque spec is on the action wrench. So what I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to chuck this barrel up in the barrel vise, and I'm going to torque my action onto the barrel. Once that's done, I'll bring y'all back and we will check our headspace. Okay, so while maybe I can't show you, you might could listen. Well, I hate to admit defeat, but like I said, my barrel jaws will not clamp tight enough to allow me to get this torque to 75 foot-pounds. And while we're probably good enough to run, I'm not going to chance it, but I do want to see how smooth. I do want to see how smooth the bolt runs now. We got a little more weight on the end. Oh yeah, that's going to be nice. So I can't hang the trigger until we get the receiver fully torqued to the barrel. But I think we'll be good enough to go ahead and at least get an initial headspace check. Because I don't think going from whatever we're at right now to 75 foot-pounds is going to change our dimensions much at all. So we will start on, by the way, I'm using Climber 6.5 Creedmoor gauges because 6.5 Creedmoor and 6 Creedmoor share the same chamber dimensions up until the neck. So we are going to start with the go gauge. Was that the go gauge or was that the no-go gauge? No, that was the go gauge. There we go. I wasn't turning hard enough. We closed nicely on the go gauge. Let's check that one more time. Get the go gauge in. We close on the go gauge. Now, the no-go gauge. This should not close. Yeah, we cannot get it to close. So we are good to go there. Very good. Well, I know what I'm going to be doing here, and that's going to be apparently shopping for the proper arrow barrel vise. So close to having a rifle, but we're dead in the water until we can get that torqued all the way. We're going to go ahead and probably call it here, and whether we'll do another video when we can torque the receiver to the barrel and hang the trigger, and maybe by then we'll even have a muzzle device, which I'm contemplating doing a EC tuner brake. And then I still need to decide on a chassis. And after that, well, I've got to decide on glass. But we're getting closer. So I think this is probably going to be the best way I can do a rifle build video. Is going to be in little bitty segments. And that way there nobody can say, oh, you built a gun on video. I didn't show anything. I showed the parts. And I showed the parts together, but not torqued in spec yet. So I think we're going to be good. We're going to give that a try. So we have a new rifle. It's still in pieces. We've got a barrel quasi-mounted to the receiver, or receiver quasi-mounted to the barrel. It needs to be torqued. We still need to hang a trigger. We need a muzzle device. We need a chassis. We need glass. We've got 6.5 Creedmoor brass. It's a once fired alpha brass that I'm going to be reforming to 6 Creedmoor. So we will have our brass supply. I've got some 6mm burgers en route. So we're going to be shooting 109 grain burgers. We'll get some initial test ammo made up so that once we have the rifle built, we can go to the range and make some noise. Alrighty, well, while I have to admit defeat and can't say we've got that torqued down yet, I was going to hold off on looking at the trigger, but let's take a look at it today. This is the Trigger Tech Zero Creep. It's for a Remington 700. We've got an adjustment screw right here at the bottom. A little Allen wrench. I imagine there's probably one in the package that we can increase or decrease the trigger weight. And we'll probably go, I will start out maybe at 2 pounds. Then using the hanger gear, this trigger will set right in here, just about like that. So trigger will go into this stirrup and get pinned in with these 2 stainless pins. Then that stirrup will hook into the bottom at the front and then screw in right back here. Hopefully that was in view. And that will be that. I don't know. I do not know if that is, oh yeah. That sear, you got to put a little pressure on it. And it's a nice positive release. I will most likely remove this piece here. It's one little torque screw and a C-clip, because this little bar here is the bolt release for your standard 700. And since the Solus has a bolt release on the side, this bar is unnecessary, so we will remove that from the equation. I imagine that nut will have to stay to hold the safety in place, but we will double check that. Pretty sure that will just unbolt. Interesting. Looks like it has little hammers around it. I'll have to look into that, but pretty sure that'll unbolt and we can remove this bolt release. Oh gosh, I hate the feeling of being defeated, but all is not lost. We know we're close enough on our headspace right now. We will recheck that after we get the receiver torqued to the barrel, and we'll be stretching this out for a little bit. So I'm going to close the video out here. I'm going to go order the proper bench vise for this because, well, probably going to be changing calibers once I get into the game and decide, okay, I want to keep doing this, because we will go from 6 Creedmoor to probably a 6 GT. But for right now, we're going to stay 6 Creedmoor. We're going to have some fun. We're going to probably try a new game with the rifle. And if not, well, I'll always be able to say I built a bolt gun. And thanks to Aero Precision for making bolt action rifles easy enough, almost easy enough to put together as a AR-15. There's not quite as much magic involved in a bolt action rifle as I thought there was. Okay, with all that being said, this Halfmilesniper reminding y'all, carry everywhere you can. Get a CCW if you need one. If you're in a constitutional carry state, get a CCW anyways. You may travel. Not everyone respects constitutional carry. Although our president-elect has said he's looking at national reciprocity as well. Hopefully that comes to pass. I want to thank y'all for hanging with me, even though today was kind of a failure. We'll be back. We'll get this rifle finished, and we'll see it out on the range. So until next time, y'all stay safe, keep shooting. We'll catch you next time.
Send it. Hit.